Welcome to Oklahoma, the Sooner State. Before getting started, I had an issue with my inverter that I needed to address. One of the wires going from the batteries to the inverter had a ring terminal come loose, which was a pain to fix, especially since it was pretty cold where I was. After eventually soldering the terminal twice, I haven't had any problems with it, hoping it stays that way. I think that looks good. Anyway, I really didn't find much to do in Oklahoma that interested me. A lot of museums, but not much else. One museum that caught my eye though was this American Pigeon Museum. The idea of a pigeon museum was funny to me, so I was very curious and decided to stop by. I can definitely say I learned a lot about pigeons. Very interesting animals. I had no idea that competitive pigeon racing was a real thing. If you're in Oklahoma City, check this place out. It's free to visit and a fun little stop. Next, since I was in the area, I stopped by Oklahoma's Capitol building. Pretty much what I've come to expect from capitals. Although they did have this neat little museum in the building. I thought this was nice. So it's called the Sooner State because back in the late 1800s, when the territory that would become Oklahoma was first being populated, people were allowed to claim up to 160 acres of public land if someone lived on it for 5 years and made improvements to it. People who entered the territory before the official start date of April 22, 1889, had an unfair head start to pick land and were referred to as Sooners. Over time, the term would come to positively symbolize an energetic, can-do spirit. So, I have been in Oklahoma for 3 days now, and allow me to show you what my experience in Oklahoma has been so far. Let's see. Yep, it has just rained like crazy so far. So, like I said, I really didn't have that much planned to do in Oklahoma, and it rained much of the time I was there. So I kinda just moved on. I made 2 quick stops in Tulsa, and then headed to Kansas, the Sunflower State. Now in Kansas, I stopped in Wichita. There was a science museum there that looked like fun. I cannot believe how windy it is in this state. For some reason, these science museums always seem to start with a dinosaur. I don't really know why. I absolutely love model train sets, so it was a nice surprise that this train showroom wasn't a little theater, but actually a big model train set. This artificial tornado machine was one of the coolest things I've seen in a museum like this. They had this whole section about airplanes and stuff, which was cool. I like engineering-focused displays. They're very fun for me. These kids were doing a great job flying this plane. This wind tunnel was cool. You could put in different shapes and see how aerodynamic they are. Really neat. It's also getting close to Christmas, so there was a lot of winter and Christmas stuff pretty much everywhere I went. This place was really cool. I'm very glad I stopped here. I like science museums a lot. But it was time to move on. I did have one more thing in mind before leaving Wichita, though. I stopped by these botanical gardens. Considering it was very late in the year, the gardens themselves didn't really impress me all that much. The gardens were actually decorated for a Christmas light show later at night that I didn't know about. So, I walked around seeing what there was to see, but was a bit bummed that if I really wanted to see the show, I'd have to come back several hours later. I wasn't really sure if I wanted to do that. But I did. And I'm very glad I did. Because the lights were really awesome. This big Christmas tree was super impressive. I don't think I've ever seen anything quite like it. Everywhere I went was just covered in fun, bright lights. I was really impressed with everything. This was a very fun way to get into the Christmas spirit for me. Honestly, I had so much fun here, I want to make sure I do something like this every year. As I left to see more of the state, I stopped briefly at a place called Coronado Heights Castle, which is this strange, extremely windy hill with several old stone structures on it. Very odd. God, it's windy. Interesting, but I didn't stay long. On my way to Topeka, I stopped at the Oz Museum in Wamego. Wamego? Wamego? However you say it. I feel like if you're in Kansas, you gotta pay your respects to the Wizard of Oz. It's crazy to me that the movie came out in 1939, 2 years before the US even got involved in World War II. The museum had lots of interesting items. These books in other languages were really fun for me. I like seeing the different art styles and interpretations of the characters. This was fun. I'm no huge movie buff or Wizard of Oz fanatic, but there's a lot of interesting history to the movie. It's good stopping at places that feel unique to a state's identity. Finally, my last stop in Kansas was at the state capitol. I know this is 2 state capitals in the same video, but I really enjoyed Kansas's capital. They offered dome tours, which I didn't know about until I was there, so I'm glad I was there on the right day for it. There's a few interesting stops along the way, and if this spiral staircase that's like 100 feet up in the air discourages some people, I don't blame them.
Clay tile begin. That's the outer.
But if you climb it and get to the very top, you can go out on this small balcony that overlooks the building and city. This was so cool and unexpected. I'm not sure if any other capitals offer regular dome tours like this. If you get the chance, check it out. It's really fun. But with that, I'm done with Kansas and ready to move on to my next state, which will be Missouri.